School. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to do a drawing demonstration for our project this week. We've been looking at the movement of op art in the 1960s and thinking about how artists can play around with space to fool our eyes and to create interesting effects. And we're also, it's the Easter season, and butterflies in art history are a symbol of Christ's resurrection because they emerge from their chrysalis to become a butterfly, just like Jesus came out of the empty tomb to give us new life. And so for this lesson, I wanted us to look at M.C. Escher's butterfly optical illusion, playing around with space like he does. M.C. Escher was an artist who was kind of ahead of his time. He lived from about 1898 to 1972, so he died right sort of towards the end of the op art movement. But he played around with space. He's interested in very similar things to the op artists of the 1960s. So in this piece, he is talking about, there's a lot of positive and negative space going on. So positive space is the area that objects take up. So you might say this butterfly is positive space. And negative space is the area in between the butterflies. So you can see that the negative space between the butterflies gets smaller and smaller. And here it's just lines. And then gradually that negative space gets wider. And also what's happening is the butterflies start out as simple, not very detailed shapes, and they get more and more detailed, which helps our eyes to start recognize them as butterflies. So he's working with going from simple to detailed, and also working with how our eyes see positive and negative space. And I've also included this poem, Easter Wings by George Herbert, which I hope you enjoy reading. It's a concrete poem, in that the poem's shape expresses the idea of the poem, and it's that idea that we were talking about, that butterflies or winged creatures can represent the resurrection. And so for this project, I want you to try to create your own positive, negative space optical illusion. And here's another one of Escher's pieces. And you can see that if you look in between these fish, this bird shape has been there all along in the space in between the fish. So here you can see, here's the bird's neck. If you can sort of look at that space, and there's its wing in between the fish. So it helps you start to notice that that's a bird, and helps your eye not focus on the fish anymore. As you can see, gradually he makes the fish less detailed, and he starts making the birds more and more detailed. And gradually the fish fade away, and we just see the birds. So I want you to think about creating your own positive, negative space optical illusion, but don't panic, because I'm going to give you some steps to help you with that. So you want to take a piece of paper and divide it into 3 equal parts. You can do that by folding. You can kind of just eyeball it with your ruler. I'm going to just kind of eyeball it here. So this is section 1, and this is section 2, and this will be section 3. So steps 1, 2, and 3. And of course, if you want them to be nice equal sections, you can measure them out. So then you want to pick any sort of winged shape that you want to work with. You can do a winged bird. Wings are kind of a nice thing to work with because they tend to create interesting negative spaces around them. But if you wanted to do some simpler shapes, if you wanted to do flowers, pick something that you feel confident drawing. I'm going to do butterflies. So I'm going to draw one butterfly here. And I'm just keeping it really simple. I'm going to draw the same butterfly next to it as much as I can. Maybe what I need to do is a little bit of erasing. I'm going to do this. And yeah, start out loose. Don't get too focused on the drawing. You might have to do a couple of tries before it does what you want it to. And you can, if you feel overwhelmed and you want to just do a copy of Escher's, or if you want to do a copy of this particular transformation, you can. I hope that you come up with your own idea, but what I really want you to do is just learn how these images are working. So I have my butterflies. So the negative space here is this space in between the butterfly's wings. I'm thinking about, what does that remind me of? So you want to think about, say you even had drawn like flower petals, and you want to think about like, what does this remind me of? So it ended up reminding me a little bit of, which I thought was cool, a butterfly's chrysalis. So a chrysalis of a Cecropia moth. And so what I did was, and you can see here, I ended up adding more details to my butterflies. And then in the next section, I started really thinking about how could I make this look like a chrysalis. So I added a little bit more detail to my negative space. Not a lot, but a little bit. And a little less detail to my butterflies. They're starting to they don't have these spots anymore. And I know that you're going to take your time more with this drawing and make it really detailed. Make your butterflies or flowers or whatever shape you're using very detailed in section 1 and a little less detailed in section 2. Maybe I might still have, you know what, I'm going to erase the little eye spots. And then in section 3, and you can see that this is a rough drawing because I was really experimenting. In 3, it should be that you can sort of barely see the butterflies, and the chrysalis becomes the most detailed portion. And I was even able to turn the body of the butterfly into a little stem holding the chrysalis. And I could even turn the wings into leaves. So you want to think about how you can change the negative space in between things into something else and make your positive space gradually disappear. And then once you feel like really confident with your drawing, you want to go in with your black pen and really add some nice detail, like make it a really nice, clear drawing. And you can even fill in all the negative space in dark. And then maybe in step 2, half of it is dark and you're starting to see. And then in step 3, you might just have the outline of your chrysalis and its texture. So think about those as you work on your project. I'm really excited to see what you come up with.